This picture is from the newspaper from Wall Street after the Great Market Crash, which took place on October 29th, 1929. The Great Market Crash of 1929 was one of the biggest catastrophes to ever take place in the U.S. It was known as Black Tuesday. It was the worst day in the stock market's history. It took place on Wall Street in New York City, which is where the largest stock exchange is located. This was an end to the Roaring Twenties. The cause was because almost 16 million shares were being traded every day, and everyone was selling and not buying. In total, around $25 billion was lost in the crash. Stock prices were much larger than their actual value, which created a bubble getting ready to burst. They shut down the market for a few days, but that also didn't work. The market crash was a key factor into the start of the Great Depression, which was the longest and deepest economic depression for many people. It left countless of people homeless and unemployed. The subject of this picture is it telling us how many people were affected due to the crash. This newspaper writer has a personal point of view because the crash most likely affected him in many ways. The crash wiped out thousands of investors. Many of those investors thought the stocks were a sure thing and borrowed heavily from banks to invest more. Even people who weren't investors were affected too. Many banks were first forced to close due to loans not being paid and back and the money circulation not moving. This created a long-lasting untrust between Americans and the stock for years after the crash. Unemployment rose to 30% during the Great Depression. I chose this image because we learn about this almost every year, and I thought it would be interesting and fun to learn more about it. It's also interesting because my grandparents experienced this firsthand.